with for today, gang. It's a beautiful Saturday, and I'm bringing to you a very gorgeous lady. You're sitting with me, Lulu Blue, and next to me is Khanyisa, a poet, a student at the University of Witwatersrand, Johannesburg, and many more other things that she's going to let us in on today. There were poems for you guys, so stay tuned for that. Latest. So welcome to me, Khanyisa.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
I'm glad.
How are you doing?
I'm a little bit nervous. I don't usually get nervous, but I'm a little bit nervous. I feel like a lot of things could go wrong, but let's just see how it goes.
Hope for the best. Yes. Yeah. I'm very glad that you decided to have me on your channel. I see that it's very up and popping. You have a lot of impactful people on here, so I am nervous because you.
Yes, it's funny how you saying that, and I'm looking at him like you deserve to be one of the people. I should have invited you a long time ago because you're one of those impactful people. There's so much power in poetry.
I think that's true. I agree. But there's a part of me. There's a part of me that's like speculating. Like maybe there's more power that should be in poetry that isn't there because people. These days they talk a lot of things but they don't mean what they say. So like that's been something that's been on my head a lot lately. Yeah. But I do stories. Like sometimes I do write
You see now
like
you're letting us
inspired,
in all those things that I didn't mention earlier. There's also a lot of other things that she does. Yeah. So what do you normally write about?
I write about love. I'm a poet that writes about love. I love love. I know that's a very typical thing to say, but I really do. So usually it's like my experiences, and not just romantic and all of that stuff, like just love in general, like experiencing, because I believe that love is life. So that's what I write about. I write about my life, like my thoughts. So yeah.
And just speaking about it, I see your face lighting up. It's the passion just, I don't know, showing through your face that, I write about love.
Yeah.
And you make it sound so simple, because it's not like, it's just words on paper. There's also like a lot of charisma that goes into it, because a lot of people come and watch you perform.
And I appreciate it. So there is an organization that I performed there, but like this is also like a thing that I used to do even in school. I did perform poems, and so like I always appreciate the audience because like you're really taking your time out to listen, So I think that's a very big thing.
And it's not just listening, because they also give us a feedback.
With the kids and even afterwards, some people come up to me and they're like, "Yo, dog, the poem," and I'm like, "Hey, I don't even know how you got there, but thank you very much," because it's not like I don't write to like it's from me, kind of for me. It's like an extension of my thoughts, kind of thing. And I always say this, like my poems are a conversation. So they usually don't follow the same patterns as other people's poems, be it flow-wise or like meaning, or like a lot of poems are very good with playing with words.
Yes.
I like to believe I know how to do that too, but not in the same way that they do, you know what I mean? So it's just...
So there is something about you that stands out. I want to say that, because obviously if you're like, not like that, but who do you draw inspiration from?
Okay, that's one thing I wanted to speak on. I think I don't have like this is the person who made me want to write poetry. So like it's a very complicated experience that I'm having. Like I don't like to say straight up and that I'm a poet. I believe it's more like storytelling, just the story of life, story of whoever else's life that I've seen, and I try and represent that in poetry. So, and
it's like, if it ever happens that you draw inspiration from me in your next poem, I want to know about it.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like we're all a part of it. It's kind of how it ends up being when I explain it. Like when I think about it. And when I explain it, yeah.
When did you discover that there is something inside of you that you want to give to the world? That you There are words, there's this feeling that I want to put on paper, and if I'm going to put it on paper, it's going to be like this, and I want people to experience it like this, and taking us through all to the time when you had the first performance. It could have been your parents, could have been your friends, but that first performance and the reaction, and what it meant to you.
I'm not gonna lie, it's like I've been having a lot of experiences, so I don't really think I can say the first and exact moment or performance kind of thing. But in terms of writing and in terms of poetry and just expressing myself, I think it's been a thing like since NJ. I remember, and I always say this, like I feel like I came to be in myself, like become aware of myself when I was like 6 years old-ish. And ever since then, like I remember I used to write, you know, I don't know if maybe this is an everybody experience kind of thing, but like I used to write songs, you know, like when you watch TV, then you go back to your room and you're like, okay, this is how it feels. So I used to write songs, and I would just, like, that would be my time, my kind of thing that I do, and that just, I carried it through all my life, and it still is even now. And I remember me starting like this poetry kind of thing. It wasn't I decided like, oh, I have something, you know. It was just like, I wrote this piece, and you know, here's an opportunity to share it. Like at school, they have art festivals, and you know, you can enter into those. So I go in, and they give you reviews, like they give you the certificate and stuff like that. And it's like, you did well, very articulate, nice. So I was like, oh, like people respond nicely to what I share, and then I did have that also fateful moment when I shared some poems of mine on Instagram, and then Notepad Poetry reached out to me, and they were like, hey, I see you doing poetry, do you not want to come perform at our dry sessions? They had quarterly sessions where they have poets and musicians, all of that. So they're like, pull through. And I was like, me, for sure, you know. So I'm always open to that kind of experience and opportunity. And so each and every one of those kinds of instances, like from young.
And shout out to Notepad for putting you on the spot.
Shout out to Notepad at the beginning about people meaning what they say and knowing what they're saying, because it's very easy to be expressive and you're thinking, yes, it's good for me, I'm letting it all out, but you're in a very dark and heavy place, and you share that, and it rubs off on other people. So I feel like it's not that you should wash down how you feel or anything like that, but it's just very important to also think about how you are coming across. Not that you have to internalize it or anything like that, but like consider it for the other person. So that's something I do. I don't share every single poem that I have, but some of them I feel like, no man, this is something I feel like we can all relate to, you know, just as people, just as human beings. So I'm just a person. So that's what I do. That's how it goes with sharing poems.
That's really nice. And now, speaking of the poems that you write, I've listened to a couple of your work on TikTok, and I think not TikTok, I meant Facebook. On Facebook, that video on Facebook, and then there's the Instagram one, of course. Yeah, the Instagram, I'm always there. Of course, there's proof of the Instagram one. Oh my God, I made a mistake. I actually thought you were. Are you not on TikTok?
I have a TikTok account, but I'm not active there.
You also don't post?
I don't understand it.
What do you really understand? Anyway,
I'm not a social media person, expert like that. Like, I don't know, it just didn't make sense to me, so I put it aside. Yeah.
I mean, it's not every social media platform out there that we don't like.
Yeah, or interact with. Yeah.
True. So what I wanted to ask was, most of your poems are in English. And this is Malanga. Khanyisa is your name.
Yes.
So my question is, why Khanyisa today? Is it like?
Yes, in Rebelli. You're Rebelli, by the way. Yes, but I think I express myself better in poetry. It's a very complicated explanation. my relationship with language and how I view it and how I share.
But please share with us. I'm sure the viewers will want to know. It's very important.
Okay, so at school they encourage our parents, to speak English with us so that we know English, right? So it became a thing of, at some point, English becomes
your everyday
the everyday language. That's what you know, that's what you come to know. And I did reach a point where I was like every time, it's like, why don't you guys know your language? Why don't you guys? So like for me, it felt like, hey man, now am I not a person because I don't know how to speak exactly like you, or am I not who I am just because I don't speak the language the way that you do and expect me to, kind of vibe. But this funile, yasazi, and I just don't write in, like I do. There are some poems that I have that I put it in there, but I think mostly because English is being dominant. So that's how and it's very a broad language as well. But I do throw in a couple of, depending on where I am and how I feel and what I'm saying.
Important as well, depending on where you are. Because I just came from an event. This is very funny. I just came from a Tonga event. And that's nice. And the society was celebrating 20 years. I think the only thing I hate was the killing. And someone was saying that to me. And the reason why I hate that is because my roommate, whatever roommate I had, was Tonga. She would say that a lot, that is what you beautiful mean.
Yes.
Right? And I think that's literally the only thing that I hate, because the whole proceeding of the event was in Tonga. Even when the praise poet was praising the arrival of one of the founders, it was in Tonga. And I was just there like, oh, so this is how it feels when people don't understand what we're talking about, when we're talking in Zulu or Shona or maybe English.
But it's fun.
It's so weird because you're just there like everyone is clapping and joining in.
And you're like, but you didn't hear a word, you don't know what they say.
Oh my goodness, now that I'm actually sitting with you and talking about it and reflecting on it, I'm just like, that was so crazy.
That's how it is.
Because when everyone was standing up, I just stand up.
You don't know why, you don't know what they say. But at the same time, like, okay, this is kind of a bit off of the poetry thing, it's just like a me thing. I kind of took it upon myself to learn all these languages. Yes, sing Assassin's Rebellion, Assassin's Zulu, I'm learning Sutu and Baby. Like, it's something that's like, why can't I know all these languages that I want to know? Not because you said, oh, when Rebellion was because of me.
Because I
want to, and I enjoy it, and I feel like, when you know what people are saying, they don't feel like they have to keep quiet around you. Then you can actually
they have to translate, because even when they translate, there's a part of you that says, you could be lying. Yeah, true, and they could be lying to you. What if someone says something mean, and then when they translate it, they put it nice.
It sounds nice. Like there's some
and with a lot of people around this place, they're very multilingual.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it helps a lot to be multilingual.
It does. But so just to round off, in my poems, just a matter of, I usually am thinking in English. Yeah, like that's how I express, I think. But no, it's complicated. Like it's very complicated, like in my head.
But I do understand, because like you said earlier, it's the dominant language. Used to it like that. It's also very important. I think it's also okay in this day and age to be a very versatile poet, to be versatile on mostly any industry that you're in. Sometimes we interview musicians where like I produce, I do the visuals, I do what, they do literally do everything, because I mean we're already in that industry. You find a lot of actors that we're acting and then now they're like producers or they're directors. It happens in a lot of artistic industries. That's usually like how it is. You just learn the other things as
you pick it up as you go along.
And you don't have to know everything as you begin. Just to wrap it off, as I promised, I like keeping my promises. I'm going to leave Instagram handles, Khanyisa's Instagram handles, and link to the video that we were talking about, the one she performed for Not Bad, right?
The one that you saw on Facebook.
Yeah.
The one that you saw on Facebook was actually for a competition called Poetry Africa. And you can find it on Poetry Africa's page. It says Meet Khanyisa Mtsweni, which is me. And I'm wearing, actually in the video, I'm wearing this top, so you'll hopefully not miss me. Hopefully, I hope you don't. And yes, the poem that I recited is called We Are.
We are.
Yes.
And which one are you excited for us today?
That's the one I'm going to recite.
We are.
That's the one I'm going to recite. We are.
So guys, do enjoy the poet. Next to today, same place, same time, a different guest, but of course with me, your host, Lula Blue.
Realization upon realization. It's good for the mind. I think of it as clarification, earned through constant communication with God. And I have realized, so allow me to clarify. All we really know is what we work to achieve is something we'll never see. Because in this thing called life, we work to leave what others will use as a reason to believe. And even though we don't know our end, the unknown is something we continue to live in here and now. Here is what we have in the present. Time at this point stands still, moment to moment, because here is a time, but it is also a destination. Here is a time, but it is also the destiny for our nation. Here we stand as a mark for those who have come before us. Here we stand and mark the start for those yet to come. Look at our nation. What have we done? Now is possibility open and welcoming. It is a mark too, but also poses a question. And now? I hope you realize that is for us to figure out. And now? Will you decide to decide right? I hope you realize that here and now we are. That is the way of life. That is how it has been and how it shall always be. They did it. You wonder, can we? In God, with love, always, absolutely. Thank you.
I can be. That was amazing. After this amazing performance, I don't want to spoil it with a lot of words that are not part of the poem. Can you please just give shout outs to people at home, people that mean the world to you, people that you love?
Shout out to my family, them 20s, them nieces. Ginitanda, ugunitanda, guys. I want to shout out my mother. I want to shout out my father. I want to shout out my brother, Mangoba. I want to shout out my sister, Umbali, Numtutuzi. Those are my people, guys. I love them very much. I love my family. And I want to shout out all my friends, the people who support me, the people who love me for being who I am. But most importantly, I want to shout out to God because He's carried me and brought me here. Thank you very much, guys. Gingu Khanyisa.